We'll let Donna honorarily run. Call it to order. Whatever, if you're commissioner, you kind of know how that works.
We'll call this meeting to order of the Historic Preservation Committee.
Alright. And just so for the record, we do have a quorum present. So we can begin. There was no old business that we had, but under new business, ODOT, they're doing the ADA sidewalks. And part of it has come up in the historic districts that in some towns around the state, they are preferring that the truncated domes, the little right out there where you, that have the bumps before you cross to tell where they're at. In the historic areas, there's some cities are elected to go with colonial red rather than yellow in the historic districts. So before they get going in the downtown district here and in the historic district, they want to know, do we want to go with colonial red? And I think we have one that's already been put in as yellow, and they would have to go back and replace that as red because the historic district runs from Ash to Fulton Street.
It runs from Birch Street to Fulton.
Birch,
Yes.
okay. I didn't know it went to Birch. I thought it was Ash.
Yeah, because my house is, the blue
Oh, you
house,
were
the
on
Thompson
you're right.
house is,
I'm off.
yeah.
I kept thinking you're on
The
Ash.
VFW hall is,
So that's my bad. I thought you were on Ash, but you're right, you're Birch.
so
So it runs
there's
from
a
Birch.
yellow one there and there's a yellow one in front of Tuck's house.
Yes. So what they'll do is they'll go in and replace those yellows with colonial red if the historical commission wants the colonial red. But that's the decision you gotta make tonight. They need that decision tonight of what you want. Do you want colonial red or do you want to leave it yellow? It's all or one, not, you have to do the whole historical district the same, or you can't just pick, well, if these we want it and that we want. So it's
Won't
either
cost
all
us-
yellow or all
Yeah.
red.
Won't cost the city anything to replace those two yellow ones?
No,
Okay, great.
no, that's their fault for not checking before they would put it.
Okay,
And then it got brought up on, I think Enterprise brought it up, and then, was it Lake Oswego or something brought it up when they were doing theirs, and so then now they've started reaching out where they got the historic districts and making sure
ahead of time.
ahead of time.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. Historic district out beyond, it gives them one more identifying factor of village.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. What about you, Gary?
I don't think it really matters to me, so either way, I mean, it's inconsequential. No one will be aware of it.
Yeah, I like the idea, if they're gonna do it, to do the historic red.
And if you got your packets in there, there's a couple pictures of the difference in the colors. If you didn't get your
I
packets,
didn't get
No,
I don't know who got your
I didn't pick one up either.
We're bad.
So
Yes, I like that.
Thank you.
there's that. And
Thank
there's
you.
pictures in there of
Thank
them.
you.
Thank you.
Kind of what they look like.
Yeah, I like the red.
That one, bear in mind, flip faded, but
Mhm.
maybe a little bit brighter than that new.
That's good.
Do we make a motion? I make a motion and we request the red dome for the historic.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Motion passes with four. Alrighty, the other one, the next business is Sarah Hartley. She bought the building on the corner here at the old bookstore. I think they're gonna turn it into the front of it, possible like mercantile. And then the back apartment, or the back house, as it sits now, they wanna put an upstairs apartment and a downstairs apartment. They're gonna split it. And, for renting out like an Airbnb. in the historic building. So, the biggest thing on that is, to do that, they would have to add on the last page there, they kind of put a little thing there together. They need to put a separate entrance for that second apartment upstairs. So what they're looking at is on the back of the building, they're looking at adding a stairway that they said would be, historically, yeah,
Compatible.
relevant, there you go.
There you go.
Historically relevant to the building to use as a secondary access up the back there. I talked to him that when I looked at his drawing here, I believe it's gonna work, for setbacks, and, I said his biggest issue is having parking off street for those, and with what he's creating here, it'll be a little tight in the back, but he can get parking back there. And, he's also talking about where the fence is over there, they might take some of that down to add some additional parking, there. So if they get like, because right now this parking would accommodate like maybe a small sedan or something like that. They get people to come in with big trucks or something like that, they would park over a little bit. So those are things they're talking about doing to do that, and because it's a historical building. And that door would be replacing a window, that's currently a little window like you see next to it over there. Because it's a historical building and they're changing modifications to the outside of the building, it has to come through you guys for your approval, or what you want to see or not see or deny or allow.
Well, this looks appropriate to me. This is on the back part of the house, so,
Sophie Alley.
yeah. So, and I like the fact that we have a person who is investing in that building. So that's always exciting too. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, if that's what it's gonna look like, it looks fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it'll look real similar to this, he said it would be probably metal, wrought iron, something like that to give that historical look to it.
Are they gonna do anything with the courtyard on the side that's behind the wood fence?
Yes, there's plans to renovate that. There's a couple plans going on that they're tossing around. They haven't decided yet, so I haven't weighed in on it, but they have an old double-decker bus that they want to move in and then convert it into a like sitting area to eat and drink coffee in. And they're working with Freeman's next door as well to tie it all together. So you can get coffee, sit out in the bus and drink it, kind of like an outdoor patio, but in the bus type situation.
I try to get Todd to put that with the pavers, load the whole thing up with pavers and make it a courtyard,
Yeah.
but
And that's kind of what they're looking at, only putting this possible double-decker bus in it that would be decorated up. And I don't know if you've ever been to,
is it an old English double decker?
yeah, like the old English double-decker, and it was gonna be something about, I don't know if you've ever been to, I think it was it in Kennewick or up in the Tri-Cities? They have one that's in like an old train that sits out in the middle,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
created an Italian restaurant in it.
It's in Walla Walla, isn't it?
Walla
Walla
Walla.
Walla, there you
Yeah.
go. Same type of thing, only a bus,
Mhm.
and they would use it to possibly combine, they're working with Freeman's to
So
see
they
if
don't want to
can
go
combine-
against Freeman's, they want to work with
Work
them.
with them, and
Instead
they're
of being-
talking about it, like even opening up their wall to meet with them and
Wow.
use it intermittently between the two buildings.
That's great.
What kind of business are they gonna put in there?
It's not completely decided yet, but more of a mercantile bookstore, mercantile,
Antique
Recycle-
shop?
Recycled furniture, antiques, I
yeah,
think,
they're still figuring out their business, but it sounds like the books and mercantile side of things.
yeah.
And then they want to really, and especially with the bookstore, they want to tie in with the coffee
Hmm.
and try
That'd
to
be great.
promote that across.
And where are they from? I'm just curious.
Originally California. I can't-
Lastly, from Utah, the last
Yeah.
place they moved from was
Oh, that's,
Utah.
I've seen Utah plate on the pickup out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, they originated out of California over to Utah and then,
They've called into a couple of our chamber meetings. They've joined the chamber already.
and
And
they're really active with the city. They're checking on everything before, I mean, they come to their ideas and can this work? What do we gotta do to make it work? And they're really checking into things. And that's why this came about, is because they said, well, this is what we want to do. Can we do it? And I said, well, yes and no. We need to get approval from the historic commission because and they've never owned a historic building before. So they're trying, they want to keep the historic thing going.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And they're working with people. They're not just coming in,
Yeah.
Lone Rangers or anything. So
Right.
that's nice.
That's a switch. It's nice.
It is nice, yeah.
Not that that would make a decision on our meeting thing on decisions.
I think
but it
it's
is wonderful.
Mhm. I think it's a great idea. I'm okay with it.
I move we accept the plans.
I second
Okay. All in favor?
I,
It- Yeah, as long as it meets, appears to be what it, you know,
yeah.
What the picture
represented.
shows, yeah.
So, and I can draw that up that they approved it based on a historical look like what you have here.
Yeah,
If there's any variance that comes of that, it'll have to come back before.
Okay.
So, and I think they understood that. so.
Okay.
Alrighty, and they would have been here tonight, they had to go to Portland, they were gonna, if they had, where they were traveling, if they had some internet service, they were gonna try to get in, but doesn't look like it happened, so.
Wonderful.
Alright, the next is, Sheree wanted to talk about the other business, the All-Star Heritage meeting that we had,
Just take a look.
the CLG grant change status and our travel Oregon destination grant, so I'm gonna kind of turn it over to Sheree for the next three things.
And hopefully it won't take too much of your time. But we did not get the Travel Oregon grant, just wanted to let you guys know it was pretty competitive and I didn't expect we would. But
we tried.
so we tried, we'll keep trying. And it was for signage, interpretive signage and directional signage at the Ranger District compound. We're currently still working on the CLG grant. Curry Gill from Certified Local Government. She wanted us to bring in a professional to write the presentation piece to Oregon Historical Register. So, I mean, I know that anyone can make an application to the Oregon Historic Register, but I think she needed, for them to fund it, we needed a professional. So I invited Ralph Edward, but he recently reviewed that and decided that that's not a quote that he wants to.
well, forgive me, what is this for?
This is the Certified Local Government Grant where.
For what?
This is the wet grant where we ask someone to write the presentation for the National Historic Register for the Rangers District compound. And there was a little bit of education related to that as well. So some outreach pieces too.
So I was working on back, if you remember, we approached council about getting it on the register. So we're working at that and we found this grant and they helped. So we applied for this grant to help get it up on the register. They wanted some professional help. So we're to get the grant and get it, they want professional help to do it.
To do it right.
So that's why we're still in the loop with the grant, but we need to find, we had put in that we were gonna get help, but we were probably just gonna hire somebody to do it. And then, but they wanna know who,
Gotcha.
Right.
and it's gotta be somebody that they kind of approve.
Do we know who is available that knows what
But
they're
Curry
doing?
gave me another name, but she was from the east side. That's why I wanted to go to Ralph first, because Ralph has experience with this.
I didn't know that.
Well, with the Forest Service
Oh,
And then he also is working on, he did work with the Liberty Theater and did that as well.
So, so I'll follow up next with her referral. I imagine we're gonna be in the same place where we always are, whereas we can't find the right professionals in Eastern Oregon to do the job.
Well, Val Stockoff, your neighbor, she writes grants.
That'd be great, but it needs to be a historic architect, or a, which is kind of.
To write for a nomination?
That's weird.
For them to pay for the nomination, to write the nomination. So any one of us could write the nomination.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to understand what's,
But if you come with it with an architectural engineering background, backing it and writing it, you're more apt to
likely
get that
to-
status than, say, the lay person writing it.
Okay.
So we were looking at trying to increase our our odds of getting onto that, and that's why we.
I get
applied for
it.
this.
So, I mean, well, if you guys know of any architects or anyone like that, or historic architects, send them my way, and we'll ask them.
What was Ralph's deal? He didn't feel,
He was overstaffed or under, there's too much other jobs going on, and he really wasn't, I mean, it was gonna be a pretty big project for him to do that, so. So he very respectfully said no, so,
okay.
we'll, opens it up for more.
And Curry didn't have any other names?
She had one more name.
Well, okay,
So
just
we'll
one
leave-
more?
Yeah, so I'll keep, working on it, and she just she said she's gonna keep it open for us for a while.
So she's trying to work with
Yes,
us.
she's trying to work with us.
That's great.
And there's, the other pieces we could, just invest in the education piece for this grant and then still do it among ourselves. I know that we have a lot of information from the, from Forest Service, but,
But at the same time, I think you're a little overwhelmed. You're doing a lot.
right, I can't do it, no, I can't do it. But it was something to, it's something to think about if we can
Sure.
find somebody else. And I was thinking if we can't find anyone, we might even try to go to the college.
Well, Kathleen Almquist and Walt Brookshire did the one for the historic district here.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I've talked to Kathleen recently, and she said she would like to.
Kathleen Miller? Whoa.
Yeah, she said when we got our thing finalized. let her
Yeah, they
know.
did the whole thing for the,
and she
I mean,
might be a
she,
historian, so she might qualify as a professional. Want her
I mean,
to-
she's not an architect, but yeah,
Mhm.
if they're,
Want her to check in? Okay, good idea.
she lives in the Grand in some
Yeah,
apartments.
she's in the senior complex, and I've got her number. I'm supposed to update her on what's happening with, Huck, too.
Okay, so you'll give her number to
Yeah.
you, and then she
Yeah.
could call Kathleen.
Want her to ask?
Yeah.
So the other thing is Doug, and I had a couple representatives were on, All-Star Heritage Award meeting phone call. So that's an award that only happens in 7 cities in the state of Oregon. There is some grant, if we get this award, there's some grant funding associated with this award. And Union is close to getting like 12 of the 15 requirements necessary to get this award. So, so the next step is we're gonna visit with, the Union County Museum and talk to them a little bit more about what we can do to get this award. I think, as you mentioned earlier, everybody's a little overwhelmed, so I think it's something we do incrementally over time versus jumping and do the whole thing. But some of the things that we can consider working on is a cultural coalition, something like maybe we can get our group to meet with the museum twice a year, or get East Oregon Livestock Show.
So that's one of the 15 criteria
Yes,
then?
it's a cultural coalition.
Okay.
And it's just a good idea anyways.
Sure.
I mean,
The communication's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to have, basically, you have a coalition that has like a liaison from here, and a
Mhm.
liaison from there,
Mhm.
from some other historic
Great
thing. The chamber might have a liaison, and they meet just to talk about the historical stuff each of them are doing individually as a coalition, so
Mhm.
that they can all be kind of on the same or aware of what others are
Others are
doing.
doing. Yeah, I think that's a
so-
great idea.
So bring that up to them. The other thing they would like to see is a heritage website. I don't think we're in a position to do a heritage website yet. But I think that we can work with the city of Union to get a heritage page that might work.
Work to mark that, check that one.
And, describes our group when we have our meeting, what our projects are,
Sure.
how to go to, link to the Union Cemetery and those kind of things. So I think we can kind of work on that a little
Yeah.
bit.
Because some good things we have going in that All-Star that we found out that maybe we took for granted is the cemetery, historic cemetery.
Mhm.
That is really good for us, and EOLS over 100 years old.
All right,
That is a huge thing for us.
great.
Unfortunately, we tried also to see if our, well, not Crazy Days, what do you call it?
Yeah, Main Street Madness.
Your
Grassroots.
grassroots works, but
I'm surprised you guys can't remember the name of
I
that.
just call it Crazy Days. But I guess, because originally it was called Crazy Days or
I
something.
know it was Main Street Madness.
Madness, okay.
Mhm.
So I guess when it would have qualified, but there was too long of a gap in there that it sat vacant with nothing happening.
Okay.
And so therefore it couldn't qualify. If there had only been like a year or maybe gap, they could have stretched it together.
Gotcha.
and
I
we
don't
could
know
have-
if there was a gap, but maybe there was.
Well, if we can,
If we can prove it, because the museum seems to think when we were on with their-
Nadine Rodman can answer that
that there
question.
was
Okay.
a lapse in there, for a little
Okay.
while.
I mean, it changed names, but Nadine would be in, Bill Paxton, he just passed last week. He was one of the main people that was part of that original.
And name changes don't matter, it's just
Okay.
whether the event took place, and then we have to link the name change to the same event.
Well, we just need to ask Nadine. She would know if there's a break because I don't think there was. I think it was just a name change. Because I used to help when it was Main Street Madness and we never skipped a year.
Okay,
And why we say all this, is it all brings us points, and you have to have 15
yeah, 15.
15 points to at least even be considered for it,
Okay.
and active and stuff. And believe it or not, I think what I learned on the meeting is, if we could achieve this, Union would be the first smallest city to ever achieve this under 5,000.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, which would be.
That would be
and they really want it to happen because we're so close compared to other small cities.
I see. Nice.
And they want to use it as an example that even the small cities can do this.
Wow.
And how many years was it? I was on that phone call because the community alumni
Oh,
breakfast
yeah.
has gone on for years and years. Bob Watts started it many years ago.
Didn't they say 25 years we had to have
No, I
consecutive?
think it's been over 25 years.
Okay,
And I'm pretty
Roger
sure,
Huffman and we turned it over to the school and they ran it for a year or two and then they weren't going to, and Roger Huffman and some of the salvaged it that year at the VFW, just very quickly, so it didn't lose that year.
and I know Donna Patterson was one of the original
Yeah.
people that did it, but so
Yeah.
Ralph might have an idea how many years.
Yeah, well, I'm
Sounds
sure we
great.
can come up with how many years.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, good examples.
And we're gonna have it this year.
Yep.
We're gonna have it at the complex.
Not the
Well,
complex,
seriously.
the community
Center,
center.
community center.
It's so complex, it almost sounds like a prison.
Right now, feeling like it.
Community center.
So two other things that we're kind of, that I think our group might want to look at is we need to document grant funding, I think, to the city that's heritage related, or it might be individual, I'm not sure.
Well, no, she said grant money documented to heritage within the city. So what that means is, like, the diamonds in the roughs, those count, so people that have applied for those count towards the city, showing we're using heritage money to help better our heritage. And so, like, I think we look back at Gary's when he did his, it still qualifies.
I'm doing another one
And
for the rest of
And that's
it.
what she updated us. She said, you're on the midst of doing another. So we definitely have some heritage grants, but we need to get some more.
I see.
And like applying for these CLGs and these travel organs, we're trying. So that also helps.
Thanks, Gary.
So we need to get the word out for other people to start applying for these heritage grants, right?
Yes.
And I do think the high school is,
The high school is applying for a preservation to get preservation dollars to help with their matches and stuff over there as well.
And did the high school help us on those 15 lists, like stock show, high school? No?
No, I
How about the
didn't invite them.
hotel? The hotel's 100 years old this year.
I don't invite them.
I don't think so. No, but I mean, I realize that, but when they're looking at our town and they're looking at things that have been here a long time,
Yes.
would the hotel,
You're right,
would the hotel being 100 years old
that's right.
be an asset in that list?
I think so. Yeah, and it's just stuff that and Curry's helping us to work through it because she really wants this to happen. Oh, the other thing I've heard say, it would be the first city east of Bend to get it as well.
Really?
Yes, this is, and we get advertised on Travel Oregon if we get
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that would be
Which-
huge for our,
Yeah.
for visitors to
Yeah.
come. Yeah,
So-
that'd be great.
So anyways, we'll work on that. And then I put down the women's history tour, which is, no one else knows about this. I just did this one day and one night. But it's basically, I outlined, it's on shopunionoregon.com. But it's this tour of some of the things that happened related to women's history, like the Women's History VFW Hall, Jessica LeCamp's painting that's been there for 25 years, the bell tower, and there's a couple other things. But if you guys think of other.
With the EOS like queen thing.
Oh, yes, at the library. Yeah, that's Ollie Osborne.
Yeah.
So that's,
She came to stock show, or yeah,
yeah, so if
She
you
really-
guys can think of anything else we can add to that, that's,
right.
because it's a unique,
Okay.
they were looking for unique heritage events. or heritage type things.
Well, remember, I think I just put it on Facebook not too long. I can't remember the details now, but it was the ladies, remember? It was a 4th of July thing or something, and it was this ladies group.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I had never seen that before.
And she was like, I don't remember that, but it was a whole group of ladies.
No.
What did they do? I
It
can't
was like
remember.
a broom or,
Yeah, that
It's
broom.
The broom brigade or something
Yeah.
like
oh,
that.
we'll have to look at that.
And I think they performed like 4th of July or something like
Yeah.
that. So we'll have to figure that
Yeah,
one
that
out.
would be a perfect example.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll just keep going. So we'll just kind of keep our eyes open as we progress, I think.
If
And
you
I'll start
put,
talking
can I
to
say
people.
something? If you put something on Facebook
Uh-huh.
and ask people, can you help me, can you give me some history of some, and I guarantee you, people are gonna shoot you all kinds of history and ideas.
Okay,
Because I like to do that, just go on Facebook and ask a question and I'll get tons of good answers of people that know the history. A lot of them don't live here anymore, but they'll send you, yeah.
all right, let's see if we can do something with that. The Union Library is interested in repointing their building. And so the first step is, I have a gentleman coming out to look at both buildings, both the community center and the library, and we'll give a quote. And then the next step is we'll put together a budget and present it to the city of Union, so that we can consider it possibly in the 2020
Budget.
budget. And it'll include, working with the Oregon Heritage Preservation Grant programs too. So we'll see. And
Great.
I also,
When are you gonna get that?
as soon as I get a quote from him, so I know that, because I
Cause I
know,
like my budget, our budget hearings are 27th, 28th and 29th of April. And I will have my budget together by mid-April. So
27th through 29th. Okay,
so I'm gonna need numbers from you, hopefully before, let's see, 14 days before the 27th, I have to have my budget done. So that would be the 13th.
I will check to see if he can get that quote done by then.
I mean, it doesn't mean it's out, but it'll give me better numbers to go forward with to add. But on the other side, if I know it's coming, I can program some dollars there just in case it does come.
Okay.
And that's.
Is it, you're getting it for the library? Is that what you're getting it for?
And the
Yeah.
community center.
But Muhlenberg.
Milenberg,
makes-
where's Milenberg?
Yeah.
Well, they're separate, aren't they?
They're two separate places.
Well, yeah, because one's a public building and
Yeah,
one's,
but while he's here, we're
private
gonna have him
building.
give quotes for both, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I confused
Okay,
you on
is it-
that.
Yeah.
No, I
yeah, a little
confused you.
confusing there. It sounded
Yeah.
like you were trying to lump them together.
It would, yeah, let's try. See if- No, but sorry about that. So the Oregon Heritage Summit is April 29th to the 30th. It costs $35 if you guys want to do online training. And that's about it. So,
Well, who would pay for it? The Oregon
City.
Heritage Center?
If you're
Okay,
doing it under the Historic Commission,
okay.
we would pay for that training. So if you get on and do it and pay for it, bring us a receipt, we'll reimburse it. Or if you want us to sign you up, if you get a hold of Laura, she'll get it signed up and paid for.
I just think it's a great opportunity because
Yeah.
it'll cost the city a lot more money next year.
Mhm.
This year is $35.
It's a lot to learn too. There's a
Yeah.
lot to learn, yeah. You can sign me up, or you guys want to sign up?
I'll do it. It'll make us look really good.
It'll help us too to know what we're doing.
Sheree, just if you can come in sometime, get me that information and then
Okay.
we'll get it all signed up for you and then get it paid for. So,
Well,
because I think I'll just need personal emails so they can email them to you, the links and all that good stuff.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. That's all I got. Thank you, sorry.
I wanted to say, when the high school came and we were looking at paint colors, Gary, I went and talked to him, and I appreciate that you remembered that the trim on that JF Hutchison had the darker color.
Yeah, we saw pictures of it.
Yeah, he told me that you had come and showed him, and they found pictures.
Yeah,
And so they were gonna, I don't know if you talked to him since then, but they were gonna try to
Go
keep
with
the
the
main
darker
color the same, but
yeah. 'Cause-
go with the dark trim, because I appreciate that Gary remembered that. I don't
That's
know.
good.
Well, I
Good
went to the,
job.
it said, there's pictures.
Yep.
And
Well, that's
this
what
lady
we
that
sold-
was
we
here
sent
was
them.
saying, no, she was trying to compare it to some, St. Francis School in Bend, and no, those were dark too. I lived in Bend, I know, you know.
He
Yeah,
pays
so
attention to colors. I don't do
We
that.
told him, go to the museum, I'm sure there's pictures, and
Yeah.
And we found
I
a
know they
picture in
did.
1941 and it was, you could definitely see it was darker. And then I went over here with him and looked at it and said, you can see it right here.
Yeah, right underneath the old paint.
It's
you know.
just obvious,
Mhm.
you know, and so I just,
So they're fixing, they were gonna keep the same main color and do the dark so that it
Good.
looked, yeah, so I appreciated that Gary, because I would have never dreamed that and I wouldn't have.
again,
known
the
that.
dark colors are a historic architectural design that makes it look, give it a little more.
Well,
texture.
we found a picture of the new community center, the Methodist church from, I don't remember 19, that one I have hanging in there. And it shows up on that top part where it's white, that's a darker color too, most likely a red or something. So,
The other thing I want to bring up before we adjourn is because,
I have a question also, but go ahead.
because we are technically a historic commission, we're gonna start having to, and part of being a CLG, we have to operate under that way, not just, because before it was kind of just a club.
Yeah. just be the top.
And we were all just talking about different things. So we would, it needs to be set up more like a commission. We need to elect a president or chairman of this group that will lead the meetings and do that moving forward. I did read up on the ordinance on this. It is 5 members, so we are technically full right now because we have you 4 plus Diana Jones at this point in time. Those are the ones that have been appointed by the mayor from whenever. And obviously it would be just like the planning commission, if someone steps down, we gotta find a member to fill in. So I need from you guys tonight so that we can still operate and get back into proper operation, and it would be to elect somebody that's gonna be the chair of this committee, to lead the meetings and that type of thing. So, don't all volunteer. please.
I nominate Donna, she's experienced and she handled the gavel.
Well, it's not that hard just to run the
Yeah.
meeting. Is that, as long as she's doing all the work, I'll run the meeting.
A second?
Or is there, yeah.
Do you accept the nomination?
Sure.
Donna? Okay.
I enjoy
Any
it.
other further nominations? So we'll just take a quick vote, all in favor?
I,
Anybody opposed? So Donna will be leading the group as the chair. So,
Okay.
And that's great because then, as we get things come in, the way it's supposed to be set up is as people want to work on these historic buildings or we have historic things come forward, we convene to meet about like these projects like we have and to make decisions on historical, and place those historical conditions and things like that. Just to kind of know. And then also, if you guys feel you need to meet on other things, like where we're at on these other things, I just need a call from a member that says, hey, I want to have a meeting this coming up month. Otherwise, if I don't have anything coming forward, we don't have a meeting, kind of like the planning commission.
If there's
we
no
don't-
agenda.
If there's no agenda, there's no agenda. We're gonna start having agendas. We have minutes.
Mhm.
We are recording. We're in public meetings. They're going to YouTube live and everything. So, that's how we're gonna run.
Doug, what's the update on the Forest Service buildings? How are they coming along?
Okay, so the plumbers were in today. They started the plumbing
Right.
on it. And, the framers inside didn't get a couple things done, so the plumbers did as much as they could do. Now the framers gotta come in and do a couple more things, and then the plumbers, can pretty much finish up. The plumbers think if the framers get done with everything this week, they will finish up next week for the rough ends.
Mhm.
And, then it'll be contact the electrician. So, the electrician bid came in, we only had one electrician bid that came in around 7. So to redo the house, so it sounds like that's probably what we'll end up going with.
Mhm.
We talked to a few different electricians and that was the only one that bid, and that was Fox.
PJ. Mhm.
Yep, and, so, well, I mean, I have to get a council approval, but we'll probably end up going with that. And then, once that's done, our guys will go in and insulate, and then we'll drywall, and then get that done. And then we gotta figure out flooring, and that's something I wanna talk to you guys about, how you guys wanna do the flooring in there. If we're just go back with hardwood floors, what do you guys wanna do? Faux pas hardwood, I don't know.
Does it have does still have the hardwood floors in there? The
Yes,
original?
and they're pretty rough.
They're pretty
They're pretty
bad.
rough. In fact, if we're gonna do hardwood floors, we'll probably just
Mhm.
do it.
Scrap it and
We'll
start
save what wood we can
over.
that's savable, but because a lot of those guys can come in and they can save parts of it
Sure.
and then add new to it, and
Mhm.
that's probably how we'll treat it. We'll stay with the same widths, you know, so we don't go wider or skinnier. We'll
Right.
stay with what they have there, which I think if I remember right, that's like 2 inch.
Yeah, usually it's a lot skinnier in those days.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I'd like it to look like it originally looked and no
Sure.
carpet or anything, but the hardwood would be.
We did get in and we got that big wood stove out of there.
Mhm.
That was fun. And so, but we got that out, and now we'll be getting with a HVAC company to put in something appropriate that will somewhat historic or older look, but will be a gas mount,
Mhm.
furnace for safety stuff and all that.
Up to code, but
Up to code, but more.
sure.
Yeah, but still have hopefully a historical look to it, fireplace look to it,
Great.
as best you can do with that.
Sure.
But it's coming along good. If you want to go in, the doors are unlocked to go in because there's nothing in there. So
And
you
then,
can kind of go and kind of see, they got a lot of the basic framing up, and it's coming along pretty good.
so now did you say you guys are residing it or painting it or what?
It will get resided once we're, we'll
Insulate and
reside.
all that
Yeah,
first.
so we're looking at, we've talked to a couple of places to reside, that new guy that's doing the VFW Big Red,
Mhm.
he's looking at, we'll get bids from him on
Okay.
residing, and I think Dan Davenport wanted to bid on the residing,
Good.
and it's pretty much we buy the material, it's just putting it up.
Mhm.
We'll take it down, and then somebody's gonna put it down.
Great.
And then, like I said, we found the old architectural drawing, so we're gonna do the siding like it was back then,
Mhm.
where it went horizontal and vertical.
Oh.
So, and there was horizontal, vertical, and 45. So we're gonna try to match it up the best to the original drawings that we can.
That's awesome. Great.
On another note, speaking of the VFW hall, they've been doing stuff, and that's in the historic district.
Is it just inside?
No, the whole ramp on the outside, they've done some stuff on the back side, a new porch,
No, he means,
steps.
is it the historic district part? Is it in?
They're in the historic district.
They're in the historic district.
They're working on historic stuff. I know that.
They haven't come to us.
No. They have not come to this committee
Oh.
submitting any plans whatsoever or approvals, and I do not know what they have in mind. They've had a guy look at the roof and things like that, and I'm
The
just
roof,
curious what
I think
else they're doing.
I know on the roof, they're doing the same thing we're doing, because our roof is leaking over this place. So we're just replacing the roof with the same exact stuff that's up there. They're pulling the old off and putting a new down. So, and it's the same Duralast liner stuff that they.
On the VFW hall, I'm talking, the VFW hall is a peaked roof. It's got metal
Well,
on
you're
it.
talking about down there. They have come.
The VFW hall.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I was thinking of the Masons building, my bad. I got confused.
Oh, you were thinking right here.
So they did come to us about the handicap thing, and the LeGrand building department. They have a building permit for it. The reason it didn't come before us is because it was replacing exactly what was there. So they're replacing the current handicap thing, and the museum has reached out. Well, the contractor that's doing, I guess, the little white church here they're putting a ramp on this church as well for handicap access. And he's come and talked to us about it, but I haven't talked to the museum Nod about it yet. I need to talk to Nod about it.
Well, again, my concern on the VFW hall, back to that, is, again, the ramp, it's a little different. They've made it more so because it's not as steep. Right, they've got an L on it now. But my question is, if they haven't come before us for that kind of thing, what else are they trying to do? Do we know?
The only thing I know that they're doing that they have come and talked to me about was the ramp.
Okay,
And
they've got some new Ramrod guys over there,
okay,
and are they aware that they're in the historic district?
I will make sure they know.
Please do.
I talked to Brian McDowell and he said he knows they're in the other night we talked to him and he knows they're in the historic district.
Well, I don't see him over there at all, hardly at all. There's the other guys are there, and I'm not sure that they do because they haven't come to us at all
Yeah.
for the other
And
things.
they might not
So,
know that they're supposed to.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And you just said that they do, but I don't think they do.
Well, I
And so I'm
actually.
concerned about what else do they have in mind?
Sure.
You know, hopefully they're not planning on putting metal siding on it or some damn thing like that. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, and when I went and talked to them, because they called and I went down and met with them because they wanted to talk about the ramp. And if they could, the only thing they said on the ramp is it's going in the same place, but they had to change the angle a little bit to be ADA compliant. And that came from the building inspector in the grant. So I said, as long as you're not like taking it and going a different direction with it, it's already been there, you're replacing to come compliant. And that's all they're doing. There isn't supposed to be just newer wood, I guess you could say. And
Yeah, they did a good job with the steps.
It looks
before and
nice.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I'm concerned about, it's starting to look like a damn industrial site with those big old storage containers in the back. And this is a residential district.
Yeah, well, we had a discussion when they put that last big one in. They were just moving it in, and I said, you're not leaving it there. I can't even see it on my kitchen window. So they moved further on to the property.
Yeah, and that white one now, what are they,
Well,
like,
the white one is going away.
I hope so.
They're going to the gun commission. They just told me that the other day.
oh, good.
Is this Sarah that joined us?
Like I say, it's looking more like a industrial site now, and that's not,
Can she hear us?
Yes, sorry. I apologize for being so late.
So who you hear here is, this is Sarah. She was the one we talked about on the building. And I just gonna let you know, they already voted and approved your guys' stairs.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you for your investment in the community.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for starting a business in Union.
And then
We're looking forward to it. Thank you. Didn't mean to interrupt. I'll continue listening.
I do have a couple of questions. There were a couple of questions come up is, they did ask what you are planning to do in the store part, the retail.
Well, at the moment, there's an awful lot of stuff in the store. So we figured the first year that we're open, we're just kind of going to open it as, I hate to use the word junk store, but kind of like a junk store, indoor garage sale. And then eventually we'll close it for the winter time and redo it. And then open it up possibly as like artist / antique mall kind of a thing for now.
If I remember right, there's talk about doing something on the patio side with a.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
There's tying it into the side yard, like with a bus or something like that, and maybe.
Yes.
Shop somehow possibly.
So we have purchased a double-decker bus, an old English one, and we were hoping to incorporate it somehow in the garden, but we have to figure out the measurements and whether it will fit or not. But we would like to, because we believe that something unique like that might draw people in. There's quite a lot of people that actually like double-decker buses for some strange reason. So, and then we're not so sure what to do with it, but there's talk about possibly doing like a beer bar, or to incorporate the garden in that, or like some sort of place where people can go and hang out anyway, something for, everybody.
Making it more of like a public parkish type thing where you sell.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. It's,
Making it more so it's kind of open to the public to come in and use and purchase and eat and drink.
yeah. So like another little mini business in town, whether, and things change. So all we know is that we're going to make it part of the community and be available for, I don't know, it could even be kids' parties in the backyard or something. We haven't really thought about exactly what we'll do.
Okay, I think those were the questions that were brought up, and I don't know, does anybody else have any questions for Sarah while she's still here?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's see, back to where we were on the VFW. I'll run down and talk to them and make sure they know. If there's further plans, I know they did come and talk to us about that.
I know they were talking about re-roofing it, and I asked them, I said, we talked about putting shingles back on. I said, that'd be great.
Okay. All right.
But I don't know. My concern is, what else are they gonna, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I know when the windows were replaced, they did some things a little bit different, But that was well before we had a CLG too.
Sure.
And now we have an official CLG.
Yeah, and we need to monitor to make sure it's done right.
Yep. And I encourage you guys, if you see things going on, let us know. And I've been trying to get out to visit, especially in this historic district, so that we can keep what we're doing going, and been trying to visit with these people and get through things the right way. And I'm not trying to approach it as enforcement, as I am trying to come work with us so we can make it look right and make it work. So
Is the old Macrina building, the Naughty Pine, whatever you want to call it now, they're gonna put some apartments upstairs. Do I understand that right?
so you're talking about
Roger and
Matt Krieger or Matt Leaderbach?
No,
no,
across the street.
across the street.
I haven't heard anything on that.
Okay, they put some new siding, 11 on the back side of it.
Oh, they did.
On the kitchen, I noticed that the other day, and then it was T111.
Yeah. On
So
that addition part,
huh?
it's on that addition part.
Right, on the backside, on the alley side of it.
Hmm.
So I'm just curious, someone had told me that they were possibly gonna put apartments upstairs, which, okay.
I haven't heard anything yet.
There used to be apartments upstairs.
Before it all got kind of trashed. And that would be
Well, it
nice
used to be a
get
bordel.
The biggest thing that we tell people when they're putting in their apartments, even like this Sarah and what they're putting in, is because of the downtown district there, we do need to encourage off-street parking. That one is gonna be a little harder, but I think it can be done off the alley. There's like I said, over here, Sarah's taking care of that the way that they're designing it for it. So, but that one down there, we're gonna have to take a hard look on off-street parking. The council and the planning commission has taken a position that we don't mind the Airbnbs and the rentals for that stuff in the old historic village, because that's commonly done upstairs.
Right.
Well, it behooves business to increase the density in downtown.
In downtown, correct. So we're encouraging that, but we also want to be careful of our parking, and because we have limited parking.
Right.
So we want to make sure they get their parking off the street for those more in the permanent resident type buildings.
Right. So behind that building, does that belong to Mindy and Dave, or who does that belong to?
Well, across the alley is still Royal Rock, in the Fred
They still
Barn.
own the barn?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you have the Frontier Communications next door to them, I think, or,
Yeah.
well, I don't know, Zipley maybe.
It's Zipley down.
So, and then they do have a little bit of space there to park parallel, but not like perpendicular. So
Okay.
we'll see what they work out. And they can always try to get permission to have one parking spot allowed on the street.
So Roger Yates and family own that building, and I didn't know, I can't remember where I heard that, just last week.
And
So
we
I
haven't
thought-
heard anything here on that.
And I noticed that,
I know, the only thing I noticed, I've seen Matt got windows out up above and he's just getting them laid and doing that.
Is he putting apartments in there?
There was talk about it once, but I haven't heard anything definite from him. Right now it's cleanup. And
Yeah,
they're doing electricity and.
right, all the
plumbing
basics.
and
We knew that was gonna be a money pit for somebody. I'm happy they took it on.
basics.
Yeah, it's great.
I believe it once, and they changed a couple of times, but I believe they talked about turning that into some apartments above, and he does know that about the park and that kind of stuff. We talked about that.
that would even be tougher there.
Yes,
Mhm.
so,
Well,
but he might be able to get an agreement with maybe Mike Colkett or something.
Or the guy that bought the, that has this Park Stone or
Sure.
whatever, maybe he can make agreement with him for
Yeah.
parking behind
Those are
that.
things that he can work with.
Sure. Great. Some good ideas. Is that it? Does anybody have anything else?
I would just like to add something.
Sure, go ahead.
So I don't know if this is the right place to do it because I've never been involved with the Chamber of Commerce before or the downtown or the different affiliations that you have. But because we have an RV, we joined this group called Harvest Host. And I don't know if any of you have heard of them, but you pay a minimum fee to join. And what it is, they have across, some in Canada, but across the US, different places you can stay for free. And I say free in inverted commas because it's like you park in the parking lot of the museum, and you're expected to go and pay the admission to go and look around the museum. Or wineries, you go and you buy a bottle of wine from the wineries, and they allow you to put your RV just for one night on their land for free. And I was thinking, I don't know if this is the correct place to bring it up, but down by the agricultural college thing, experimental place down by the baseball there's a lot of land across the street that's vacant. And I didn't know if the owner would be willing to do something like that might encourage people to come in with their RVs. They get to spend the night in Union and, go downtown and that kind of thing. I didn't know if it was something that the city might like to look into.
I know we have had discussions with that owner since even I've been here, and they're sitting on the property right now. And the
Down with Old Mill
the old mill site down there by the high school. They've been sitting on the property right now and not actively trying to do much with it. It's just working. And we've been, and I can bring that up to them because I've been trying to look at ways to get them involved, to do something with it, to be beneficial to us. And that could fit. It's an industrial zoned property, so you could put an RV park in there. It could happen. It's just more how much investment they would like, or how they want to do that kind of stuff. So.
Well, maybe not that land then, but it might be beneficial for some people to look into possibly doing the Harvest Host. Maybe the Platts family, they have a market gardeners kind of thing. that people would be interested in. It's different it's different, different businesses that allow you to stay for free. And as far as I'm concerned, with being an RV person, it's a great way of getting to see a lot more of the US on a budget too. So I don't know who else would be interested in it, but I just thought,
I encourage you to talk to Chamber, our Union City Chamber.
okay,
I'm not passing the buck, but I'm saying they could probably, that might be something to bring up with their businesses and their different members of a program that they might
That they
want to
could
run,
join.
to join and run through them and learn more about. That would be probably with a more appropriate place, I think, to share that type of program. So,
Maybe
If
the
you-
golf course.
yeah, maybe the golf course.
yeah, that would be a good one.
And the ULS stock show, those types of things. And if you stop by City Hall sometime when you're back in town, we can get you a contact for the Union City Chamber.
Great, thank you.
She joined already.
Oh, yeah.
She has my contact.
Okay,
I
Is
talked.
that,
This is Donna. Hi, Sarah.
hi, Donna.
all right.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
At 6:30.
Bye, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
You're lucky to have
So the one thing that I would think about